Spring Web dependency, and we understand that we can make both web and REST microservice based application using web dependency. When we add Spring Web, it will provide the default dispatcher servlet configuration. So I need not to do any dispatcher servlet configuration, or I need not to maintain a directory structure like web application directory structure. Just when I create a project by adding Spring Web dependency, it will provide a main method class with the resources and with one static folder and one templates folder. There you can keep your output pages. There you can keep your output pages to render, as this is a web application. Finally, you can export your web application as a jar or a WAR. Both will work. You need not to have any Tomcat also here. By default, embedded Tomcat is going to, just a moment. Yeah, you can unmute yourself, okay, if you want. Okay. So now let's make one simple CRUD application, okay, end-to-end CRUD application, registration and one login, okay, simple registration and login use case we will implement using JSP, okay. I'll try to use JSPs also here, okay. I'm creating a project. So basically what I will do here is I'll create a simple Spring Boot web project. Student registration, student registration application I'll create, or student portal, okay. Some student portal I will create here. I'll be creating a Spring Boot project. With the starter, I'll add Spring Boot starter web, Spring Boot starter web 1 dependency to make it as a web project, and I'll be adding to do CRUD operations, right? I want JDBC library. The default along with the Java will available. Default always JRE is available, right? I need not to add. JRE is default. So there I have JDBC library. I need to add an Oracle dependency OJDBC 14. Okay, jar file I will add so that I can do CRUD operations. Okay, I'll create, apart from this, I'll create few pages, registration page, login page, and few controllers. Few pages and controllers. This is what we are going to do. Few controllers, comma, service, DAOs. With all this combination, I'll make one simple web project. Okay. So go to project, Spring Starter project. Let's name it student portal. Next, I want web dependency, dev tools for automatic restarts. Okay, we discuss more about dev tools. And Oracle dependency I want to add to connect with Oracle database. Okay, next, finish. Mostly enough. So one project is getting created. Yeah, I got a project here. Okay, now I need some input pages and some controllers. Not this, right? Student portal. Yeah, I need some. By default, it is given one main method class set that it's Spring Boot application to perform component scanning and to start your IOC. As this is a web application, by default it will start your dispatcher servlet also via Tomcat. That means dispatcher servlet is default configured, right? So the dispatcher servlet also will execute. And here one properties file just with your application name. And we know 8080 port is the default that we should to change first. Server dot port is equal to put something 9090, whichever you want. Fine. Now let's start from input pages. Okay, let's start from input pages. The default location should be templates. Okay, yesterday we see that it is loading from static. Not sure, again I'll try. We'll crack it. If something you put under static, it will not refresh that content. For example, if you want to show list of students, that list iterations if you are doing from a JSP page or a HTML page, and if you put it under static, Spring Boot saying static will not perform any dynamic operations. So definitely we should consider templates. We'll see. Yesterday we found a problem that is reading from static only, but the default location should be always templates. Okay, even if you observe the application which we generated, right? Product service admin something we generated. If you remember, mm, not this one, right? Something EMS. One application I believe we generated RPUSMS. Yeah. So here if you see all the default dynamic pages kept inside templates location only. All the error pages, layout pages. Okay, but all these are HTML. Still, they can perform dynamic iterations. I'll tell you how that works. And there is no configuration uh, to tell that your output pages are in templates. That means by default, templates folder only it is considered. So when there is a request from home controller, you remember, right? Redirect operation we did. When there is a simple request, it is telling go to home folder and index file. So where it is directly referring home folder of templates and index.html. Okay, in our case also it should work. Okay, it should work. No view resolver, nothing is required. Okay, we will see. We will see it. Okay. So here we have student portal. So in this student portal, first I want registration page. I'll create a registration page here. Okay. You can have folder here. You can have a folder and you can create it also. So home folder, under that home folder, I'll create student hyphen registration dot html, first input page. Okay, I just created one Spring Starter project with web dependency and changed port number here. That's it. And just created one folder home under templates directory. You can directly create the student registration HTML inside templates, but as you may have so many pages, I created a home directory. I just created student registration.html. So here I want to create a form, student registration form. Form, main root tag is form. And that form you need to specify your action when you submit this form, right? Which action you want to execute. Register I want to execute, and the method type I want to use, you know, you can go with post for doing creating data. To retrieve data you can use maybe get for retrieve and redirect operations. Here I'll create a form to register data into table. Okay, so we have our kill table. There we will insert the data. RBO experts table we have there. Let me get data. Arkill getting started. Login SQL. Okay, RBO student table. Let's see what fields we have. Oh, so many fields we have. RBO experts. ID, name, email, address. Okay, I will use this table. ID, name, email, address. So as we know, the code for using JDBC, how we can use sequence, okay, and all. But for now, time being, I will use ID. I will ask user to enter input type text, or you can put number, name, ID, name, email, address. Thus, I need this four properties to save into my table. Input type text, parameter name, parameter name, email, parameter name, address. Let's use a text area for address. Text area, name, address. Number of rows, number of columns, finally one submit button. Input type submit. In case if you are using Ajax, this form fashion is not required. You can create simple text boxes and all. and on click button you can perform action to read this data. We have that examples also if you want to do Ajax based examples that are already available in our portal also. I'll show you them. Okay, register. Simple form submission I am doing here. When I click, it generates this registration action. There I should be able to read entered ID, name, email, address values. Okay, for that I need a controller. So create a folder or a package here, com dot rbo dot, actually it should be SMS, it's okay, ems dot web. Registration controller at the rate controller annotation. And first I need to redirect my page, right? Student registration page. For that I'll write a method, public string redirect registration page method. Request to mapping, and there is a default action. I want to execute it. And I want to redirect page from home directory. Home slash student hyphen registration is the page name. So by default, it should go there and pick up your HTML. That's how this is working, right? Under templates home directory, we have index.html and any view resolver did we configure. I don't see any view resolvers. No view resolver available. That's it. By default, it should be redirecting your HTML page. Default extension HTML it must be using. Student hyphen registration.html. It should redirect it to you. Okay. First, let's test it. Is it redirecting as expected or not? Run as Spring Boot app. Application started. Localhost 9090. Why default page not redirected? So I have default action of this. Request mapping also fine. The default method is get only. It is showing no static resource. That is crazy. Anything related to view, if I see JPA, one in view, update, context creation, HTTP status, JSON exception, full stack fields, Spring Dots, Path API, blah, blah, blah. I don't have any additional configuration here. Same functionality working in a different way. Okay, first let's execute this controller. Is it executing or not? This mistake. Basically, component scan will not perform here, right? This package is different and this package is different. So, scan based packages. Let's put common package name com.rbu.ems. Yeah, that is one miss. Okay, hopefully it is restarted. No static resource, home student registration. Now somehow it is going until here. When this is function here, why it is not functioning here? Guys, any guess? Get mapping I will use. I'm not expecting any difference with the get mapping also, but let's see. Application got restarted. Same story. What would be the problem? I don't have any configuration. Maybe some configuration, okay? View resolver must be configured here. What I am overlooking is maybe view resolver, okay? Here, maybe some configurations we might have. It is a predefined generated code, right? So let me start with web advice. Mm, controller configuration, domain configuration, Jackson configuration, file template resolver something configured. Prefix to suffix also configured here in this one. A local dev config class executing, and here one file template view resolver also created. File template resolver setting up all the required configuration. Something Lombok is used here. Okay, so class path resources, if application properties is a file, what it is reading, get the parent file, something doing here. So source file path, complete physical path, three templates it is adding. So let us configure here, just a minute. Just so we'll do the similar configuration and try file template resolver. Just a minute. So in addition, they're adding it, but we don't have any theme leaf. But yeah, let's do this. Local dev config swagger we are not at there, not required also now. So I'll be just keeping this here. Okay, a simple configuration. I'm just adding here. Profile not required, and Lombok we are not using. Let's throw it. So this file template resolver also not part of template using. While using theme leaf library, it can be useful, but what if I don't keep it here? A simple view resolver if I use internal resource view resolver. I don't think it is going to work. Will it work means I'm not sure. Okay. Instead of this, I can keep it under static folder, or this is not working right. Yesterday we tried prefix and suffix. from the templates folder. See, we'll try all the possible ways, okay? If not, then we will keep it into static. Prefix, I want to load it from templates with the .html extension. No static resource. Let's track it, okay? We are getting why this is no static resource. Spring Boot, no static resource exception. So default, how to load HTML page from templates folder. Static locations. First templates. Spring Boot by default serves all content found under static public resources. But the template folder is not subfolder of static, so it will not be served. If you get right, the template is not supported to part of URL path, right? So, Spring resource static locations asking us to add. Let's configure it. Okay, it is suggesting it is deprecated. Use Spring locations instead. Okay. So now class path templates given. No chance. Okay, let me keep it as it is in the static and execute it. No need to waste time. If I copy this folder here and if I keep it in the static, it is functional. Okay, default static on it is loading. So now, yeah, it is restarted, I believe. Now, just to run it as Spring Boot app. It should be loading from home folder. What? No static resource. Okay. So as there is no view resolver, it is unable to append the extension. Okay. Now when I give some data here and enter, it will be generating one action slash reg. Under that action, I want to create a controller to read data. So you can create one registration controller. Yeah, it is already there. Create a method here for post mapping. You can use post mapping or request mapping with the post method also. Anything would be fine. So when there is action registration, public string create student. I want to read data here and use it. So you can use at the rate request parameter or at the rate instead of request parameter you can use a simple HTTP servlet request also ID integer ID. I'm expecting it will typecast, but yeah, we'll see. String name, email, and address. We need to get these four parameters here. and we should able to continue further, right? System.out.println id name email address. Finally, return some success page I want. So success page I want to return, and this data I wanted to keep in that success page. Post method is unable to redirect it, right? So for the success page, keep one more action. Let's keep one more action for success page. An action is success page redirect success. So finally, it will return success page from home success.html registration success. Let's start application and see are we able to submit this data. Again, it is strange, guys. It is trying to find out success page directly. Yesterday is the same is not worked, right? Okay, let's see. Okay. Slash home slash success. Hmm. Request method post is not supported. Is not supported. So for such case we used redirect view. Okay. A redirect view class we should use. Yeah, I was thinking how it is working. Okay. Finally, I can able to see registration success page. Okay. From here we can carry data. Okay. So internally it is doing typecasting of your ID also when I submit as a integer, or else you can use HTTP servlet request. If it is a Ajax based call, we can use request to body also. Directly it will populate data into your POSO as well. For all that examples, right? You can you can check this. Spring Boot. Here you have examples. Spring Boot registration with Ajax we have. With Ajax data JPA we have. MVC based registration login. A literal example also you have. Okay. You can explore more from this page. Okay. Anyway, we are going to discuss them later. Now from here, I want to save this data into database. For that, you need service package com.argue.ems dot service DAO and to create connection or data source we need configuration class. I'll just create simple JDBC connection, okay? Later we will explore connection pooling and all. Here it is different. Creating connection pool and all is simple, okay? So I just want to compare with that one. I'll create a simple JDBC connection, okay? dbcon @configuration public data source the configuration driver manager data source. Oh, not available. Anyway, I'll return simple connection. So here you can keep class dot for name dot jdbc dot arkill driver arkill dot jdbc dot arkill and connection con equal to driver manager dot get connection jdbc colon arkill colon thin colon localhost 1521 XC username password return connection first. So using this connection I'll create a simple JDBC code. Registration DAO @repository. You know why all these stereotypes are important. First they will create instance, right, for your class so that you can auto wire them. Public string, just I'll return a message or else void also. Save ID, string name, string email, string address, and you can auto wire connection. This is not at all useful for real time, okay? We never do connection auto wiring, but a simple example I'm presenting, okay? Instead of connection, we can use connection pool or else advanced JDBC or data JPA. But a simple example I wanted to show you. Connection dot create statement. Statement dot execute update insert into view experts values ID, name, email, address. So finally, it will execute return success or return fail. Now I will create a service. Registration service, iterate service, annotation, public string, create student with the same input parameters. Here I will auto wire DAO, return DAO.save. Just calling DAO.save, whichever return value to give, the same we are returning that. And call this from your controller. So here you can auto wire service and just call service.create. Okay. Your ID, name, email address, everything you can pass. Basically, it is giving a message, right? Return success or fail, but still we are returning success. Maybe you can apply condition here. If result dot equals success, return it. Else return some error page. Maybe for error, you can keep one more redirect method. So in case of any error, you may have error page here. Say that there is a problem. Problem in creating. Okay. Let's execute it. Let's truncate the data which we have before. And now let's insert ID1, name ABC, ABC at Gmail, HID, register, problem in creating. We got the data, but it went to exception. What is that exception root cause? We don't know. At least we haven't performed any logs also. No data. We got some exception here. Insert into RDO experts values, ID, name, email. This query looks fine. Gotcha. See, one single got missed. That's the reason. So earlier, problem incurred, creating. Now, registration success. So finally it got inserted. Okay, data is getting inserted here. Okay, so this is very basic MVC example with the Spring Boot. Okay, we will see with the JSP also. Okay, one JSP example I'll give you before concluding Spring Boot based MVC. Okay, then we will see REST based. I mean, need not to discuss much, but I'll give you basic REST based examples with Ajax and all, so that we can go to other modules. Okay, yeah, so that I will continue tomorrow. I'll share this example and go through this video and try to do the same. Okay, in your